Well, there's a tendency to think that it's more realistic than to think that human nature is bad and people are, this is a kind of bias, that if someone, have a critical view on somebody or on a book or some person, is probably more realistic. And the one who thinks, no, it's a very nice person, it's a good book, this guy is naive. And the same way they think that pessimistic people are more realistic and optimistic. So science has shown this is not the case. Optimistic people are much more realist. For instance, about the need to protect yourself from UV light. If you tell, or the problem with smoking tobacco. If you tell that to a pessimistic guy, he says, well, anyway, those treatments don't work. Anyway, I just can't get out of my habits. I'm useless, so they continue. If you tell that to an optimistic person, he says, oh, no, I can do something about it. I can get rid of tobacco addiction. Oh, it's nice if I protect myself. So they will actually be more realistic and do the thing. And so, likewise, this idea that human nature is bad and everything is a bias, because it's not the case. The banality of goodness is that most of the time, most of 7 billion human beings behave decently with each other. That's a fact. And that people who behave in deviant way are the minority. But they make a lot of noise because they attract attention. Wow, look at what this terrible thing that people did. There's a saying in the East that says one barking dog makes more noise than 100 silent dogs. So the negative news makes much more noise than 100 good news. So we have altruistic love, that is, say, benevolence at large, that embraces all sentient beings if possible, because all sentient beings wants to be happy, so why not? So wishing them to be happy is a universal sort of love, because why should you not wish that they be happy? Yes, it's easy. So then, many beings suffer, but if you don't know that they suffer, then you will not do something to alleviate the suffering. So empathy is the alarm bell, the red light. Oh, this person is suffering. Because you feel it to affective resonance, you suffer because of their suffering, or to cognitive empathy, by thinking of the situation of the person and realizing that because you are concerned, attentive, you see that person is suffering and you understand. Therefore, you value that person in the same way that you value your own wish not to suffer, and therefore you become concerned with the person. So, if you are benevolent and empathy tells you this person is suffering, then benevolence will kick into compassion, or now I must remedy the suffering of others and the causes of the suffering. So, compassion is the application of altruistic love to suffering, triggered by the catalyst of empathy.
So it's active, you could say.
So empathy is just a very specific thing. It's not the same as compassion. It's just the thing that tells you the situation of others. You feel it or you know it. That's all. You don't need to keep it for good, because then you burn out. But then compassion is very courageous. It's constructive. It actually boosts your courage. It doesn't deplete your inner resources. It increases them. Like the doctor on the battlefield, the more people wounded, the more courage. If he starts crying when there's a first wounded person, then what is he going to do? Just so many people, and then he goes on and on, tirelessly. So that's compassion. If you say, oh, so many people sick, and then you don't do anything. Same for animals. You see what happens in the slaughterhouse. It's like a hell for animals. You say, oh, no, I can't look at that, I love animals. Then what's the use? Look at it, do something, that this cannot go on. That's it. Happiness is a way of being. It's not an endless succession of pleasant experiences. That doesn't work, it's impossible. Pleasure changes into neutral and sometimes unpleasure. Listen to the most beautiful music, great. 24 hours, it's a torture. So, it's a way of being. And way of being is not happiness with a big H somewhere in the brain. It doesn't exist. It is a number of qualities. Each of them can be cultivated as a skill. Like altruistic love can be cultivated. Emotional balance can be cultivated. Inner freedom, that you are not the slave of your thoughts, that can be trained. All those can be trained. If you train all of them, the integration of all those is a state of well-being, flourishing, no matter what you call it, happiness, flourishing, accomplishment. Inner freedom is probably the best word, in fact, better than happiness.